What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Jockey, the newest film from director Clint Bentley. Now, if you like what you see, of course, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like the video, awesome, hit that like button, as well as commenting below any video that you watch, including this one. So, premiering at Sundance in the U.S. dramatic competition, this movie is about a character named Jackson, who of course is played by Clifton Jr., who is actually in a lead starring role, which is awesome. He's a jockey at the pretty much end of his career. He's about 50 years old, and he's basically starting to have health issues. He's getting very, very sick. Every time he rides, he feels more and more just kind of uncomfortable, and you can start to see kind of like the downturn. It's very similar to Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler, where you just see the kind of the nature of all the things that have happened to him, because it's a very physically demanding job that they've both done. And he has a friend slash trainer. It's almost like a romantic interest named Ruth, who's played by Molly Parker. And Ruth is, like I said, a trainer of horses, because this is a movie about jockeying and horse racing and stuff like that. And she basically is there to support him, but she knows that he's at kind of at the end of his leash. They need to find somebody new to kind of, to carry on that mantle and so on and so forth. And we also have a character named Gabriel, who's played by Moisés, who claims to be Jackson's son. And he is also wanting to train to be a horse jockey and so on and so forth. And so it's basically the story about Jackson having to come to terms with him getting old, having to deal with the fact that he has a son through his old girlfriend. It's a movie that's very similar to like The Writer, where a guy is so in love with the craft that he loves to do, but there are things that are keeping him back and so on and so forth. So it becomes a very dramatic, tensive type of movie. And the simple fact that, what the world of horse jockeying is like is something that's never been truly explored. And with that said, it's like a lot of these Sundance films, like I've talked about in many of my videos, a lot of these films I've never heard of before. In the first go around of looking for films to watch, I picked a lot of films that were considered movies that were going to be very popular when it came to Oscar season. But Jockey was one of those films that I didn't really pay attention to, even though I love Clifton Jr. I think he's a great actor. But it's just a movie that I had to wait for people to watch to kind of be excited for, as it was getting a little bit of buzz and, excitement. And so after watching this movie, it's a movie, once again, like I said, is very much in the wrestler territory, where it's about aging individuals who love their sport, love their craft, but are dealing with such mental and health issues that it holds them back from truly accepting what their life is like. And now, is it as disturbing as The Wrestler? No, not even in the slightest, but it has very emotional moments, and the emotional moments are played extremely well by somebody like Clifton Jr., who, like I said, has mostly been known for as a supporting actor. Now, with that said, with Clint Bentley being the director of this movie, he has worked with Clifton Jr. before on his first movie. So the fact that he gave him the lead role and that Clifton Jr. took the lead role is something of a godsend, because Clifton Jr. was mostly known for supporting actor roles. He's been around forever in a lot of movies, so you know who he is. But this movie truly shows you how good of an actor Clifton Jr. really is. He's fantastic in this movie. He really sets the tone. He really sets the pace. And his kind of subtle nature of what he's doing, what he's having to deal with, the fact that, it slowly comes to him, it slowly comes to light, the fact that he's just at his end of his life and career as a jockey is really sad and heartbreaking, and it just shows you the physical demands of a sport like racing, horse racing, and what other things he has to deal with. The fact that he has to deal with a son now, he has to deal with all that nature. The fact that he deals with the fact of jockeys who have like short lifespans when it comes to racing and stuff like that, because racing on a horse is very physically demanding, of course, from what I've read and what I've heard. So the body can only take so much toll. It's like playing sports of any kind. The body can only handle so much. So just watching him go through all the problems and issues it's really sad, but it's kind of a cathartic way of watching a movie. And of course, Molly Parker, who once again had a great career, has done some great stuff, is fantastic as well in here. It's so subtle and so nuanced and so just perfect for the role. Her and Colin's chemistry is really done well. If they really feel like they've been around together for a while, it's a really great kind of duo of characters in a very small movie about horse racing. And of course, Moisés, who, like I said, plays Gabriel, when he comes into the mix, it really throws a wrench into Jackson's career and Jackson's life. And Moisés has been around for a little bit. He's done some interesting films, but I think he gets a real cool moment to shine in this movie, and his nature of wanting to be a jockey, and the fact that he's young and very short and small and all that stuff. He does a really nice job in the movie too. He's not as good as like Jackson and with Molly Parker and Clifton Collins characters, but he does a pretty competent job of giving a different spin on, you know, Jackson's life and so on and so forth. But yeah, as a movie, it's very small, it's very subtle, it has some great horse racing sequences, it has some great shots of, you know, the sunsets and the world that is, you know, Arizona, and where it takes place in the horse racing stalls and stuff like that. You know, watching these characters, you know, just kind of travel through this world is just, it's beautiful to watch. It's very well shot by Clint Bentley and stuff like that. And you know, what I'm finding most interesting about some of the movies I watch is using natural landscapes, using natural sunlight, using natural anything. Because they had one C stand, which is the stands that hold up the lights in this movie, apparently, which is really interesting. But using just that natural setting and that natural lighting really can turn a movie into a very gorgeous piece of property. You know, you can go stuff like The Revenant with Emmanuel Lubezki and of course Roger Deakins doing Sicario, and the use of natural lighting, the use of color, use of, like, you know, using the sunset and using the sky, it really does make the movie feel like natural look. It feels like a natural, like, place. And I really love that. I love when directors do that. You know, they, even with the lowest budgets, they can create something beautiful. Look at Chloe Zhao and what she did with The Rider. It's so gorgeous. Look at Nomadland, same thing. It's just such a gorgeous way to do a movie. And just the idea of a guy like Clint Bentley, who actually lived with his father, who was a horse jockey, really makes the movie more authentic. And what's nice is you get a real interesting example, a really interesting dive into what the world of jockeys is like. So you hear from, you know, jockeys who used to ride, you hear from jockeys that still ride. You know, this world of jockeying is a very fascinating one because they're not the richest of people. They do a lot of hard work and they feel like the most underrepresented part of this sport. And it's really kind of, when you can delve into somebody or a group of people who don't get well representative, it's really nice to see. So dealing in this world of jockeying and what they deal and how small they are, and you know, the nature of how they have to, like, keep themselves together, it's really interesting. What the most unrealistic thing is the simple fact that Clifton Collins Jr. is a jockey in this movie because of how tall he is. You know, jockeys are like 4'10" to 5'6", and he's like 6 feet tall. So it's a really it's a little strange, a little nitpicky, but it's, you know, it is what it is. So, but with that said, that's pretty much all I have on the movie. Like I said, once again, it's a very gorgeous looking movie. It has a lot to say, a lot to do. It's a star-making performance for Clifton Collins Jr., who has been around forever. And it's just nice to see. It's nice to see him get a lead acting performance role, and he could be one of those people that's under a dark horse, or, you know, kind of coming out of nowhere like Paul Raci did, as somebody who could get an Oscar nomination for the character, because it's so poetic in what he's doing, and seeing a guy just get his due and everything he has to go through in this movie, it's just kind of nice. So, but that's it. That's gonna be my take on Jockey. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about horse racing. Do you have a particular horse racing movie you like? Something like Seabiscuit? Are you looking forward to Jockey when it comes out? But anyways, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, if you like what you see on the channel, hit the subscribe button and join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.